Hello and welcome back to another episode of Bad Moms in Business. And as promised, it's Halloween season. Creepy Danielle's in the building.
That's right. It's always in the building.
Danielle's name on iTunes. Sorry, Danielle, I'm putting you on blast.
We're going there. Okay.
When we created this podcast and we were talking about like reviews and those types of things, Danielle logged into her iTunes account and her handle was Creepy Danielle.
So I feel like I need to explain.
It's probably wise.
It's my favorite thing. It's my favorite thing.
I mean, it wouldn't hurt to just,
I am a goth at heart. Okay.
Yeah.
This is who I am deep down. I cover her up. Okay. The blue hair is gone. Most of the piercings are gone, but she's still in there. The black makeup is sometimes there still, but I cover her up. And that I got that when I was 18, and I had never even thought of it again until I was on our iTunes or whatever on our podcast. And I was like, what? It says what? That used to be like my Twitter handle. I never even like tweeted anything in my life, but that used to be like my handle for Instagram, like everything 18 on, that was my thing. And then I grew up and got rid of it. And apparently that was still left over.
But Danielle, I don't think you're alone, because I think we all have had this conversation with several of our clients that when we ask for their email address, they're like, okay, like, please don't judge me. And the minute those words come out, it's going to be like Creepy Danielle, like Outlook.
So Creepy Danielle 05. It's so dumb.
So you're not alone. It's just some people use like baby girl. Danielle uses Creepy Danielle.
Yeah. I wasn't going to do anything cutesy.
No, of course not.
Not my vibe.
Even though you're the cutest.
I know, she's the cutest.
Please.
But Creepy Danielle took a visit to where, Danielle? Tell us all about.
So my husband surprised me for my birthday with a trip to Salem, Massachusetts, which has been on my bucket list for a very, very, very long time. And it was so much fun. We did take both of our boys when we go back, because we will go back. We will go kidless.
Yeah.
So we can do more of like the tours and museums and stuff. There's only so much you can do with a 7-month-old and a 3-year-old in tow. But we had so much fun, and it was amazing. It was so cool. And it was, so we went in September. It was the perfect time of year for us to go. It was right before they get like super busy, but they were still like busy enough. And the whole town itself plays up the Salem, right? Plays up the witch trials, plays up the Halloween. So like, even though it wasn't necessarily like Halloween season, everybody was still kind of in character. And it was, I was in my element. I was like, man, if I ever move anywhere, this is where I'm moving. I felt like myself there. It was so much fun. Oh.
Imagine you could move there. I don't want you to move, but you could move there and you could have like your own real estate company in Salem. You could be Creepy Danielle.
God.
I know. And we saw a couple of real estate companies there. They were very actually small, like mom and pop boutique kind of ones. But none of them were playing up the Salem aspect. And I was like, you're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong.
So I have this vision in my head of Salem being like this cute little like Cape Cod town. Like, is it that? Like, does it match up with the expectation?
It did for me, 100%. Okay. Let me say this. I have never been to Massachusetts before. I have never been into a town that had houses from the 1600s. Never seen anything like that. So like, just the architecture alone was amazing. I mean, we just walked like where our Airbnb was within walking distance of everything, which, side note, thankfully we didn't have to drive anywhere, because we rented car seats for the boys through the place that we rented our car from, and they were extremely unsafe. I sat in the back seat from the airport to the Airbnb. We did not drive anywhere else except for back to the airport. It was horrifying. I literally sat there like holding on to the
Holding on
car
to
seats.
those
It was
babies.
terrible.
Mm.
And we drove like 5 miles an hour. It was awful. But yeah, so I had never been out there. We just walked everywhere, and it was so much fun. And the weather was perfect. We had one day, it was actually supposed to rain like the whole time we were there, and it didn't. It held off, and it just rained one morning into the afternoon, but it fit the vibe perfectly. It was foggy, and it was drizzling, and it was kind of rainy, and it just, everything, there was just like a fog over the water, and just all of the creepy houses. Oh, it was beautiful. It was amazing.
It's like Danielle's in heaven right now.
Oh my God. I love rain, which I know that I'm probably alone in that, but maybe not. But
No,
I love like
rain.
warm rain. You know, when it's like summery, early fall, and kind of, it was perfect. It was amazing.
So does it feel so? Okay. Do they give you a history of like the witch trials and what all of that means? Like, is it more historically accurate, or is it more like, ooh, spooky, haunted, witches live
commercialized?
Here? Yeah.
Both. It depends on where you go. So our Airbnb was amazing. It was literally, I don't know if you guys know the area really well, or if anybody listening knows the area really well. There is the witch house. It is like one of the main museums. There's the witch museum. It's, oh my gosh, it was incredible. We were literally like 3 houses down from there.
Nice.
And so our Airbnb had like this whole book, this little flip through book of all of this information about our Airbnb, who owned our Airbnb, and then the various areas around and the surrounding areas. And so we got like kind of a history breakdown in that book. Do most people read that? I don't know. I'm a nerd. I did. So it had a lot of like historical details, and then the museums were extremely historically accurate. But then you would go like downtown, where like most of the shopping is, and that was more like campy, lighthearted. There was a like a monsters museum, and which took the boys through that. Retrospect, probably not our smartest idea. But we asked before we went in, we asked the owner, we were like, is this okay to go in? And she was like, well, usually that the kids that can't make it through would have a problem just being in the lobby, because there were it was kind of like a wax museum of like these monsters, except that some of them moved. So it was more like haunted housey when we got in there. So Brandon held Watson like the whole time. It's fine. He made it through.
Yeah.
So it had both. And that's what I really liked about it. Was I really like the nerdy stuff, totally geek out on all of that. But then it also had like the really fun, lighthearted side, because when you think about what actually happened in the Salem witch trials, it's really dark. It's really heavy.
Yeah.
It can be a lot to digest, where you kind of need the other stuff to kind of offset it.
The hocus pocus tone.
Oh, which, can we talk about that for a second?
Of course.
Hocus Pocus is my jam. Hocus Pocus has always been my jam. And we got to see all of the houses. Like we got to see the, Danny and Max's house. We got to see Allison's house. We got to see the school, which is actually a school that is cool. Being used. We got to see like the little courtyard, which was pretty much right across the street from our Airbnb.
So fun.
Oh my God, it's just so fun.
All right.
Like we sat at this bench, and we hadn't watched Hocus Pocus before we left. I think we did like a little bit, but we were also like cleaning and packing and doing stuff. So like we didn't sit down and watch it until after we got back. And there was this tree that had a bench that went all the way around it. And I was like, hey, I sat right there. I sat right there while we watched Watson play on the playground. It was really fun.
Super, super fun. So was there something that you learned that you didn't know before going?
Yeah. I don't remember much of the Salem witch trials, historically speaking, because we learned about it, I think, in like 7th or 8th grade. I don't really remember. And so one thing that I learned, which was really cool, was so they have their cemetery, and there were the men. I think there was one man, and then the women that were hung during this time, where they are buried. It's pretty much the whole cemetery is like cemented off as like a fence, like this really large cement fence. except for one area that turns into like a iron gate fence type. And they said that that was done for a reason, because the people on the other side of that, like more open fence, were the ones that did the hanging, and they want them to watch over the people that they hung for all of eternity. So it's kind of just like a little jab in there for the people that actually did the accusing and stuff. I thought that was really interesting.
It's hard to believe. Well, I guess I shouldn't say it's hard to believe, but it's just amazing that that even occurred.
Right.
I mean,
It's just,
it just mine. I just think they were probably women who had a mind. We all would have been hung at.
well, if
Danielle
you think
would have
about,
been gone.
We would
if
have
you
been.
think about like the very little knowledge that they had about a woman or a woman's cycle or hormones or anything, right? Like the
Mhm.
word hysteria comes from a woman. Hysteria, hysterectomy, like it comes from like the womb. Basically, it's about the uterus, and the fact that they had very little knowledge about women in general, and the fact that they had that kind of power
Yeah.
to
Just hang over
not
the
just
person.
accuse somebody of something,
Yeah.
saying that they were basically evil, but then follow through with it and end their life.
Just like shun them.
That's insane.
And that is even wrong.
Yeah.
Right? Like my
It's-
theory is like these women were too beautiful. Like they just intimidated a person's wife, and next thing you know, that poor woman's up there burning at a stake or getting hung. Like it's just, it really irks me. Really irks me. I have a prediction. I think within the next 5 years, our Danielle is going to have an Airbnb in Salem, Massachusetts.
I would love that so much. And as soon as we got home, I started Googling because we saw a couple that were for sale. But I was like, oh, I'm not even going to look it up because it's going to be millions of dollars and stuff. And their market is not that insane. And I was like, man. But the thing is I would not have any idea how to take care of a home that old.
Yeah.
Well, but you think, okay, I don't think our area understands it.
No.
When you live in an area
That's probably,
that has
for
homes
sure.
like that, there's the experts that absolutely know how to handle homes of that age.
For sure. I mean, it was, oh my gosh, it was so fun. I could like picture myself owning a little shop in like downtown, and I don't know what kind of shop. I don't know what
Like
I'd
a
sell,
little
but
bookshop, a little bookstore.
That gives me
I love that
goosebumps. Like
so much.
you were so in your element talking about it.
It was so much fun. I mean, we were only there for 3 days, and it was so much fun. But traveling with 2 kids.
Oh, it's the worst.
Woo.
Yeah.
Two very young children who had never been on a flight before was very challenging.
Yeah.
And luckily it wasn't a super long flight.
No, it was like an hour and a half.
So that was on your side.
Yes, it was. It was.
So you will go again, just
Yes.
careless the next time.
100%.
I get it.
So this is what I like doing. I like putting you on the spot at the end of episodes without your knowledge. I did it last week. I'm doing it this week.
Okay.
Boom.
Top 3 must-see things when you go to Salem.
Okay. The Witch Museum, because they had like this whole light show basically explaining the whole situation and how it got started, which was amazing. I would do the witch house, because the witch house is really like the last house that's currently standing from the 1600s when all of this stuff went down.
That's mind-blowing to me.
When we went, the inside tours had been shut down for the weekend, so we were a little bummed about that, but we did get to do like the outside stuff, which was fine. And we did do oh man, why am I blanking on the name? The Seven Gables, the House of the Seven Gables. We did that tour, and we did like the garden tour outside, which was really amazing. And then as a bonus, if you're into hocus pocus stuff, you need to go just Google all of the places that you can go. Check out the little town, park square, check out the school, check out the houses. One funny story about Max and Danny's house is not right where everything else is. So we actually had to hit that on the way to the airport.
Gotcha.
We stopped, we took pictures. It's right by the water. It's beautiful. It's just somebody's house. It's not like a museum or anything. And she was standing outside as we were taking pictures, and we're like, oh, you live there. Like, sorry, but like you probably get this a lot, but like also sorry.
I'm sure they do. Yeah.
So it's a little awkward.
I mean, when you're buying a house like that, you should know what's going to happen. So,
right. That's what I'm saying.
On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best, how do you rate this trip?
Oh, it was a 10 for sure.
Ooh.
Hands down. It was so much fun. And the little shops that they have were so cute. Like there was a shop called Modern Millie, was so fun. Like if you're into like a whimsical, like crazy art teacher vibe is kind of how I got like lots of prints and just like cute things with like a touch of edge, you know, just like a touch of edgy. And then, what was the name? There was a store called Die With Your Boots On, which was so fun. What was the one? We'll put it in the show notes. There was a store that used to be an old bank that they turned into a completely 100% Gothic store. We walked in there and Watson goes, I'm a little scared.
Oh,
and it was so fun. They were playing like death metal music and it was, but it was gorgeous. Like the vaulted ceilings, they had not spray painted, but they had painted everything like matte black all the way up. They had red glowing lights. Even the vaults were used as like their storage rooms, but they had them wide open so you could see inside.
Sounds wonderful, right, Bridgette?
Oh my God.
I love that.
It was
so amazing. Hey, maybe one day the three of us will take a little trip out that way.
I would love that so much.
When the babies get a little older, and maybe some of our community who might be out that way.
They have a coffee house out there that like people literally travel here just for the coffee. I got a decaf. It was fantastic. They have like crazy flavors and stuff, so you can kind of make your own. It was amazing. They had hot chocolate that was to die for too. We went every day. It's fine.
And when I was secretly living through you while you were on your vacation, and I was Googling on Pinterest, like or searching on Pinterest because I wanted to look and see like Salem, Massachusetts. I was trying to see like, is it really as cute as what it was in my head? And I felt like it was going to be.
It was so cute.
So
I got to see there was a statue of Elizabeth Montgomery, like the original Bewitched, you know, like on a broom, like the whole intro to the Bewitched show. It was really cute. I loved it.
And to wrap up this episode, would you be comfortable showing your latest edition of Broom?
Oh, yes, I will. That's fun. Okay, so I am a part of it's fine. Where I live, we do like this witch thing for the parade every year and stuff. And I'm a part of it. I had to get a new broom this year. And so I got a Hocus Pocus witch. And it says, this is just a bunch of it's just a bunch of Hocus Pocus.
And I mean, you guys, check that broom out. That's a legit broom.
I know. It's heavy too. Like this thing is heavy.
Where did you get it?
I got this at Spirit. I got this at Spirit Halloween.
It looks
like they had a store there where you can make your own broom, and I wanted to do it so bad, but I can't. I mean, how was I going to fly back with that? And you could ship it, but we were only there for like another day, and I was like, I don't even know where the post office is. Like,
yeah.
And it was I think they said it would take like 3 hours for you to make it. You literally pick everything. You pick the stick, you pick the twigs, you pick herbs and stuff.
Wow.
To make your own, and I wanted to do it so bad.
I would have been like, Brandon, you take the kids back. I'll see you in a couple hours.
Oh man, I wanted to do it so bad.
Super fun. Well, we appreciate you sharing all of your exciting adventure with us. So 10 out of 10 folks, if you're in the neighborhood,
easily
check out Salem, Massachusetts.
Yeah.
I've been to Massachusetts a lot, just never there.
Never been to Salem.
Stacey,
and it was
this.
it
Let's
was
go.
only about like 35 minutes from the airport, from Boston Airport.
Oh, so
That's not bad at all.
that's not,
Yep.
interesting.
Which, by the
Super
way, their
fun.
airport sucks.
Yeah, it's the worst.
Oh my gosh, it was one of the worst airports I think I've ever been in. They were so sporadic and chaotic, and everybody was all over the place. Nobody knew like where to send us, where to go. And I'm like, we're just trying to get through security. Why do you not? You guys are a very large international airport. Why do you not have this together? I don't get it.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way that Detroit should be better than you.
Detroit is a beautiful, very well-run airport.
They are on it. They were great. I hadn't been in a couple of years, and they were
Bridgette's
fantastic.
like, I know from experience.
Our jet setter.
No, I used to work there.
It's
Fun.
It was fine. It was great, but the Boston one was terrible. I could not believe it. Literally was one of the worst airports I think I've ever been to.
Yeah,
So if you can just get past that, the trip's going to be amazing.
Yes, it was.
Well, thank you for sharing, Danielle. And we hope everyone has a fantastic Halloween. If you have littles, enjoy those moments because they go by fast.
My time, y'all.
And if you're an adult, go trick-or-treating too, because it's some people's time. So we will see you next week with another Bad Moms in Business podcast. Till then, bye everyone.
Bye,
Bye.
guys.